Hi, Simon. Thanks for joining us here.
Good morning.
Good morning, afternoon, wherever you are. We wanted to do this sort of Q&A. These are actual questions from students, and I think it's important to hear it from Simon and me. Some of these questions, these are important questions before you would register to reassure yourself and understand what this is, what Simon's class is, and what it's not. So. Question one, is this a Zoom class? Well, yeah, so Simon is,
Zoom became so popular now it's like a verb.
it's a verb, it's not a Zoom class. We recorded
Yeah, it's
this.
like Google now. You need something, go Google it. So you want to talk, go Zoom it.
No. I should say Simon and I, we recorded this at Simon's, place. That's where it was recorded. I actually drove out and we recorded this together, and we spent a lot of time together, uh,
Months.
tons of time together. This was
Months. We
tons,
spent a month.
months. So this was pre-planned. This wasn't all of a sudden like, let's do something, let's patch it together on a Zoom call. These are professionally recorded audio and video that you're going to see. That's what's in the course. There's as you can see in the page, there's modules in this, and that's on the page. I really don't want to go deep into that because it's on the page. They can see that, and there's a video too explaining about the actual course itself. But it's not a Zoom. No Zoom here.
Yeah, let me just explain to you. Zoom is just an instrument. It's a form of communication. It has nothing to do with what is on the screen of the Zoom. We can do Zoom meetings in the middle of the class when the group of students wants to meet and talk about it. We'll get into that later on. But Zoom is just a tool. It's nothing more. It's not a class. It's just a way to get together at the same time on the same screen. That's all. So please don't mix up Zoom with a material of, it's over 10 hours of just video, documentary, basically, of me sculpting and talking and thinking, taking you through the process. How do I do things from the very beginning, from the idea, through the drawing, through the concept, to the sculpture, and then what goes into it, which goes anatomy and composition and materials. So it's just enormously big, dense videos of me working. It's pretty much documentary. By the way, beautifully shot from my point of view.
And we turned it, this was Simon's idea to turn it into black and white, because it's all about the form. It's not about color. It's not like a painting class where color is, really important. So, and this second question you kind of answered, is there any live sessions? No, this is not live. This is not like you have to show up at certain times. However, Simon might throw something out. Hey, I'm doing something live. That's a different story, but there's nothing, it's not designed that way. It's designed upon your time, okay, specifically. Everybody's busy. Simon has students from all over the world. I mean, there's different parts of the country here in the US. Everybody's on a different time zone. So no, it's not live. It's meant for, to be flexible on your
Brazil, Finland, South Africa, Canada. How do you get them all at the same time?
You can't. It's not possible. So so we answered that question about the live. No, there's nothing live in the class. That's not how it's designed. So that way it puts much less pressure on yourself as the student too, that, hey, I can just jump in when I have time. Are the modules pre-recorded, and do you get them at once, or do you drip them out as the course goes? And the answer is these are all pre-recorded, again, professionally pre-recorded. You get the whole entire course at once.
Yeah, so right here I have to say very important detail from my point of view. When the new student comes into the class, they usually jump right in the beginning, and then they start asking questions right from the bat. So my personal recommendation is Take your time and watch the whole course all the way through, like a movie. Just watch it from the beginning to the end. It is 10 hours of video. So pace yourself out throughout the whole thing. But my recommendation is just to watch it through. So you have the overall picture of the course. Then you realize that a lot of questions which you had jumped on you right from the beginning actually already answered in the course. So before you're getting confused and lost, take your time, look at it like a movie, and then go back and start it on your own pace. Just like Gabor just said, it is designed for your own timeline. There is no class to show up to, there is no schedule. It's all up to you when, what, how much. You want to be in the middle, you want to be at the end, you want to be in the beginning, you want to go and return back and stop. I have a sculptor who said he would watch a section, then go to his work, do something, then come back to the stoppage and proceed. And so he would go back and forth between the video and actual execution of the work. So it is absolutely up to you. Then a lot of people do something parallel to the course, which is based, it's like a jump started something, and then they show it in between. This is absolutely kosher. And they show it, and we proceed with editing, discussing it, and so forth. So it is driven absolutely by the students. If you have a question, I will try to answer it. If you don't have a question, I'm not bothering you. Did you do your homework? No, I don't exist until I'm called up on. So that's the concept. That's the idea of the course.
Yeah, and it's been running fine with that idea. Students are really happy with that.
What has been 3 years? How long has it been running?
About 3. Yeah, about 3 years. And by the way, we since 2012 is when we started doing online courses, just to throw a timeline out.
Wow.
And that's like, yeah, it's 10 technology in dog years. That's a lot of years. What if I fall behind? Which you kind of answered it here, but that's a question. What if I fall behind, and what if I cannot start right away after I registered?
It doesn't matter. It absolutely doesn't matter, because the concept of falling behind doesn't exist in this course. You can't fall behind, because you can always go back and forth anywhere you want, anywhere. That's why I would like, that's like, again, I repeat, watch it all the way through. Then there's a consistent lineage between the beginning and the end. There's a development of the course. There is a consistency in the process. So you can see that. But it doesn't mean that you don't want to, like, maybe you know all this. If you took my classes, like ton of it, it will be familiar, and you want to start somewhere in module 3. It's fine. So there's no concept of a class and a teacher where if you didn't do it on time, you fall behind. It doesn't exist. It's all up to you. It's beautiful, but at the same time, it is your responsibility. We're not going to be calling you and asking, where is your work?
Yeah. It's basically how much time you put in is what you're going to get out. Kind of.
Absolutely.
Generally, that's how life works most of the time, anyways. How many students, comes up? Like, how many students do you have in this class? Well, participation, I should say registration rate does not equal participation rate. As Simon said, we have folks from different parts of the world, in the country. Everybody participates, at different times. And but one thing we can promise you is that Simon is there for you if you post.
For every single one of you.
Yeah. So
only if you post. Absolutely correct. It's very important. If you don't have a question, if you don't let me know that you need me, I'm not going to get there. Yeah. I will not be there for just standing and waiting.
Yeah. So we have 3 enrollments a year, and we always watch that student to teacher ratio. We never want to put too many students in where Simon is inundated and he cannot, service you. because it's all about you. I mean, we wouldn't have done this if it wasn't about you. I just want to make sure that you understand that it's about you. It's not, we didn't do this to, because Simon was bored and, he had nothing else to do. So the teachers that we do have are dedicated teachers. Simon is a working professional artist. He's not, this is not his hobby. This is what he does for a living. So you're going to get this highest level of knowledge, that feedback that you can get. I mean, this is a type of course that should be taught, at university level. And unfortunately, most often it's not, but that's a whole different conversation.
Yeah. So again, how many students in the course, I want to add to it, is it's never true answer. Because A, there's always different amounts of students. B, it's always, I want a little opening on this beautiful statement, is that I can't even repeat, there's too many consonants in this in the words. But the idea is, let's say 100 people signed up, but if only one of you decided to show up, it doesn't mean that I have one student.
Yeah.
We have 100 students, but only one participates. So it absolutely depends on how many people actually asking questions.
Yeah.
Then it can be 10, it can be 3, it can be 100.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely, it's not a true answer to the question, because we can't answer, the sign up is 30 people. So what? It doesn't say anything. So we do have active students, and that fluctuates all the time because, life is hard.
Yeah, life gets in the way, and that's what's so great. It's a year-long. It's a mentoring course. It's not a workshop. This is a big one. It's not a workshop. It's a mentoring course. So that's another big differentiator here. The question about this is the next question. What happens? Can I still get access to the course after my year is up? No, you don't have access to the content. There's one bonus content in there that's downloadable, but basically your academic year, ends at that point, meaning that you cannot access the content. That's a question that we get a lot of times too.
So right there, do you have any form of joining after?
There is, and it's something that we discussed towards the end. Yep.
Okay.
So they'll be notified. So there's a way to continue.
But again, this is very important. I think right here it's extremely important to mention that it sounds like year-long class. Yeah, year-long class. But if you think about it, you have access, unlimited access to me for 365 days. So if you divide the price,
I know it's way underpriced.
It's not even funny how much you're paying per hour or per minute.
Yeah.
So you're getting pretty much free access per hour to me any time of the day with any question. And if there is a trouble and you get stuck, you always can send the question to the class.
Yeah.
And I always encourage people not to send them through the emails, which is supplied, but rather post it, because I'm more than sure if you have a question, the other 10 students have the same question.
Yeah.
So always asking on the class page is better. And I usually respond in 24, rarely in 48 hours when I'm not available, travel. But since we're not traveling for a while, I'm usually in 24 hours, I'm responding.
Yeah, Simon is quick to get back to you, unless he's off the grid somewhere where there's no cell signal or nothing. That's the only time that would ever happen.
I even taught this class when I was in China.
In China, China,
and that's hard. This is hard. Very unreliable internet.
And Simon notifies you if he has this travel somewhere where it's possibly this signal or internet connection might be spotty, so you'll know about it. But again, you have a full year with them, so there's more than enough time. I've been in many workshops. How is this unique to your physical workshop? What online, big deal, right? What do you think? How can you?
Again,
You've
It's
been
a
teaching for a long time, the physical, so you've been
absolutely.
teaching online for, yeah.
So I have both sides of this. I have people who came to my class on the internet, this particular class we're discussing, the full year class, and then came to the private class. I actually have students who are taking private classes with me after this course.
Oh.
And I have it backwards. I have a private students who took me as a workshop, took my workshops, and then signed up for this class. So it is not a one or another. It's absolutely two different beasts. The beauty of this particular class, let's call it course, is
Yeah, mentoring course, basically. Yeah,
let's call it the mentoring course. The
Yeah.
beauty of this particular model, enormous amount of material is in those 10 hours. I mean, enormous.
Well, but we don't want to scare people with enormous.
No. It's not about scaring people. It's about that you don't get that much material in the workshop.
Yeah,
you just don't. There's no time.
Yeah.
More than that, you never get that much attention in the class, even private personal attention, because there's no 365 days.
Yeah.
Think about it, how much material you can cover and how many times you can go back and forth in a year or in the 5 days.
Yeah.
So it's two different entities. They're not comparable. They're unique in their representation of material. They're unique in the way they discuss material. And the most important is, again, because I've been teaching a long time, half of the time of the class goes for social, which means you have to let people relax. You have to force people to stop hesitating. You have to do all kinds of tricks to make people relaxed and comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Here, you're alone. You're for yourself. You don't have time to waste. You can go and do whatever you want at whatever you time have. So it's absolutely zone of comfort and security. Where in the class, it's always stress. It's stress-free environment. I think it's very important difference than the private. So from my point of view, they're not comparable. They're additional to each other, but there is nothing like this full year course because of, like I said, it's such a full entity with so much enclosure in only for you. It's personal. It's like super private class because it's always you and your screen.
Yeah, no,
that's my point of view.
Great explanation. How often do I get feedback, and what type of feedback do I get? What
type of feedback? Because it's let's call it digital communication. It usually comes into a very simple form of communication. You take photographs of your work. It is explained in a course, and there is even a video, a short guide through how to take pictures so we can actually make a productive meeting. And you send these photographs, you post the photographs on the class page. I edit it. I usually edit it in the Photoshop. And if it requires more than editing, simply just drawing on top of your photograph, I do a short video explaining what's happening, or I do let's call it a Zoom session. So I show up live and I explain, the feedback becomes alive on top of actual explanation, where I actually draw directly on what I'm talking about in front of you. That's one. Second is I recommend a lot. So you ask question, I post back links, I post back examples of different artworks. Again, it's very liquid, meaning that there is no time limitation. You always can go back and find it. That's why I always encourage to go on a page, because then it's always available. It's there. You can go back and look at it, and you can see what everybody else 2 years ago been asking. So it's all there. How often do you get feedback? As often as you ask. You ask, you get a feedback. You don't ask, no feedback.
Yeah.
As simple as that.
Yeah. So Simon is there for you as long as you're willing to participate. Do I need a Facebook account? Yes, you do. At this point, you do need it. Now, I just want to explain a few things. If you don't have a Facebook account, say, you know what, I just don't want to be on Facebook. You don't have to be per se on Facebook. You can stay out of the whole Facebook thing, but you can be in Simon's private community, okay? Whatever you post in that community, it stays in that community. It will not go out of the community. Facebook takes that part very seriously, the private issue. That's one of their biggest things, is having those groups, whatever you post in there stays in there, okay? So you don't have to worry about it. It's gonna, you're gonna see it on your feed somewhere, okay?
Yeah, let's just clarify right here. So the Facebook page is a closed class, which means only people who signed up for this class get to see what's on this page.
The access, yeah.
Yeah, it's an enclosed class. It's a secret class.
Yeah.
Nobody can see it except members of the class. You don't get in there until we sign you in.
Yeah, one by one, we check.
One by one. So only people who signed up for the class can go in this page.
Yeah.
It's not mandatory, but it is helpful because, like I said, all the communications happens on that page.
Yeah. So there is no email private communication between you and Simon. If that's what you're looking for, this is not the class for you. Okay. You can sign up and be in the group and not participate and just watch.
Yep.
So
I have a lot of people like that too.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's that. Now, if you don't want to say, you know what, I don't want a Facebook account. But how can I still have this class? Well, the course is not Facebook. Just want to let you know. These are the professionally pre-recorded videos of Simon sculpting. That's the course.
On your website.
Yep. It's on a separate website. It's not on Facebook. Okay. Just want to make sure that's crystal clear. And then you have Facebook where Simon communicates with you, where the critique, all the talking goes on.
Plus, it's a classroom. It's a classroom.
Yeah, the classroom, yeah. So if you don't want this, right now it's only through Facebook, you can still have this. You have the course. And every month, Simon uploads these small snippets of video. Every month you get this small content. So the course kind of grows. And every 2 months, you can send in an image and Simon will go over it. And you will see it being critiqued that gets pushed back to the course. So there's a way of not being on Facebook.
There's a lot of extra video. I don't know how many hours now, but there's a lot of extra videos now additional to the course.
Yeah, it keeps building. So we covered that. The Facebook part, it's a big one. Can I get feedback on older work or current work? Because I know there are some suggested things that Simon has in there, but that's only suggestions. This is not a college course. So you can take that suggestion up for the assignment or not. But can you, if someone has older work, could they upload or current work, something, that?
Yes, I'm absolutely open. As soon as they become, let's say, members of the class, and I don't like when they don't watch the video and then start asking, showing.
Watch the video.
That's not what it's all about. When you get Simonized by looking at it and listening to it.
Simonized, did you guys hear that? You'll understand when you're in the class.
Yeah, then your questions becomes different. And then you decide what you would like to show and ask questions. But yes, I am open to all kinds of work. There are students who show continuously what they work on now. And they ask for advice how to work from technical side of view, from aesthetic point of view. It's their own work, which has nothing to do with the course. But you cannot say that it has nothing to do with the course because they've seen it and I can see the results on their work right away. And they see it right away. So don't hurry to show your work, which is let's call it independent, before you saw anything or participated, because you may change your mind very fast after you're being exposed to the class.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm open.
Great answer. Question, Simon, I'm a beginner. Is this too advanced for me? I don't know. I'm not sure. Is this,
There's no such thing like advanced student. We're all beginners. The whole idea that in order to learn, you have to forget the names. In order to learn, you have to pretend that you don't know anything. And it's the best thing is not to pretend. I always, in my descriptions of the classes, whenever I taught all over the world, I take this line out where they say advanced student. I hate that. No, I don't judge people in. I am opening doors to everybody because I think the more humble the student is, the faster and further they progress. So no limitations. I don't consider myself advanced sculptor.
Yeah, no, it's
I'm still learning. You know, Michelangelo was 89 years old. He wrote that I'm still learning. So if he was still learning at 87 or 89, whatever, who am I to say that?
I know. I think humans, I think all of us tend to sometimes over and under do things, like estimate things, like I think I'm maybe better than this, but you're maybe not, or maybe I'm not as good, but actually you're better. You know, we do this all the time in life, general.
But in art, there's no better or worse. We're all different.
Yeah.
So, and I encourage, I think if I would try to differentiate myself, the way I teach, what I teach, from other teachers and other approaches, I would say that I try to help you to realize yourself. I don't teach you to be me. I don't teach tricks.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of teachers out there that way.
I don't have recipes. I preach what I do, and I'm good at knowing what you need. I don't know how I know that, but I'm good at it. It doesn't take long for me to know how I can help. But that's my goal. I'm working pretty much with everybody personally, privately, considering that I am attuned to what they need. I don't apply one formula for a whole class. No, I work with everybody personally. That's the big difference.
Yeah, this is not, and yeah, that's our motto at the academy. That the instructors that we have, it's the same, very similar philosophy that all the teachers that we have is not, we're not teaching technique, we're not teaching style, we're teaching, as Simon said, try to figure, help you to move you along, or possibly just guide you along a little bit. And I mean, fine art is mostly learning on your own. I mean, it shouldn't even be called art school, because there's no such thing as art school. It should be called fundamental school, in my opinion. Fundamentals, you learn some of these basic fundamentals. After that, you got to search on your own. I mean, that's my.
Yeah, I agree with you. Every time you invent something new for yourself, remember that no two people see the same color the same way.
Yeah.
Nobody. That doesn't exist. The same red color, the same blue color is never the same for two people.
Color is a tough one. Color is very, it's up for debate for a lot of people.
The same with a form. When you look at the model, it's not what you see. And it's always a fight between what you see and what you know.
Yeah.
And we have to learn how to see, not to think what we know about it. So it's no, it's always personal. It's always about being a child every time you start. Because if you sculpt the same toes on all the models, what's the reason to have the model?
I know. After that, you're doing a formula rather than the actual model. Yeah.
Well, no formulas.
No formulas. Directions. Yeah. So if in 1 year, if you can think differently too, right? Is that correct? I mean, that's a huge one. If you just think after 1 year, like, okay, I think I'm thinking a little differently after taking Simon's class. I mean, that's already a big step, right? I mean,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everybody says that I will never, it's like one of this last bi-monthlies, whatever we did was on the door pulls.
Yeah, door pulls. Yeah.
Remember, I just did the little short explanation of how I work on the particular commission. So I got a commission to make door pulls and, small sculptures, one-of-a-kind sculptures. In this particular case, I was carving them from the wood. And then I got the write-up from the student. Damn, I will never look at door pulls ever again the same way.
Yeah. You put those on Instagram, a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what it is. Door pull.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. This is a door pull, and here you go. So you never look at things the way you haven't been looking at them before. And that's the goal, to actually learn how to see.
Yeah. No, it is. So recapping, big picture. Not a Zoom class, has nothing to do with Zoom. We are not Zoom. We don't do any Zoom classes. That's not it. These are professionally pre-recorded videos. There is Facebook for communication, but that's not the course. There's pre-recorded videos on a separate website. That's the course. That's where you ingest this knowledge that Simon is giving you. Facebook is where he's helping you out, with the
classroom.
The classroom. That's the classroom. Yeah. That's a big picture. He's there for you all the time for that full year. There's nothing live. You don't have to show up at certain times. There's no mandatory assignments to turn in. Yep.
I do sometimes by monthlies. Remember, I do live sessions.
Yeah, but
we record them and we put them in a course.
Yeah, they don't have to be there. You submit into it, so it's not. So the live part, you can get the live part for the most part out of your head. There's nothing, it's very minor.
Live meetings.
It takes time to show up live.
It's mine. I do that on my own.
Yeah.
When I think it is better to explain it live.
Yeah.
Or questions which we have. So it's more like a Zoom meeting where people are actually listening to me, but you're not allowed to be with the camera or talk to me back. I answer on the questions which you supplied before live, and you're allowed to type questions while we're talking, and then I choose and I discuss your questions. So it is more like a Zoom meeting, but it's a one-way communication.
Yeah. So.
But it is live. Yeah. Sometimes I do that.
Sometimes, but it's rare. It's an extremely small part of the whole entire.
Oh yeah, it's minuscule.
Yeah, very small part. So, thank you, Simon. I hope that we cleared up some questions.
I truly do.
For all of you.
But again, if you have questions, we're here to answer.
Yeah, and we only have three enrollments a year, and so we hope that you're gonna be in one of those enrollments. So thank you, Simon.
My pleasure. Thank you, sir.